Nobody starts at the finish line. You have to start somewhere. In order for you to get to where you're going, to meet that destination, you can't think that you're going to get there instantly. Welcome, 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 welcome to another episode of the Nothing to Something podcast. As I always do, I give my personal experiences, my personal outlook on different topics on how you can go from nothing to something. I'm not a professional, but I do have knowledge in many, many different areas. And right now, we're going to touch on emotional wellness. That's right, emotional wellness. Why emotional wellness, you might be asking? Because let's break that down for just 1 second. When I say emotional wellness, I mean, think about it. Like your wellness itself is something that you care for, like your overall. But when you break it down and simplify it into different categories, such as emotional, it's taking the steps to actually rectify or correct or build up the things that are not working. So as far as emotions goes, man, listen, it's a lot of people. It's a lot of people who their emotions ain't right. Like 1 second they like this, 1 second they like that, and they don't even know why. And things can happen. Things could not have happened, right? You know, and so as I expound a little more on this emotional wellness, I just want you to understand that no matter where you are right now, it can get better. As they say, the biggest room in the house is the room for improvement, right? So whether you are at a something place already or you're at a nothing place. So for myself, just my personal experience, was it a point where I didn't have emotional wellness? Yeah, it was. I mean, honestly speaking, we all were at an emotional place with wellness at a nothing place at some point in our life, no matter how young we were, no matter how old we were. So, trying to get that understanding and getting that know-how onto fixing it. So let's get into the nothing place for a second. So how was I personally at a nothing place emotionally? Like most guys, right? And I ain't saying all of them, but like most guys, we ain't emotional, right? It's strictly, you know, nah, I ain't worrying about the emotional part. I'ma just do what I gotta do. I ain't got no feelings, so to say. But come on, let's be honest. That ain't what it really is. Everybody has an emotional side, whether they want to admit to it or tap into it or not. It doesn't matter. So for myself, being at a nothing place and emotional wellness, I had to first realize where I was at. I seen how things affected me in my life. And for my personal experience, uh, one time that was when I was listening to this song, right? I'm listening to this song, and as I'm listening to this song, the song makes me cry. And I'm like, whoa, where did that come from? Like, I literally just started crying. And why is that? Because it was saying things in the song that touched how I was feeling, but I didn't realize that I had those feelings in there so strongly that I needed to express how I was feeling in tears. I didn't know that. I just thought that, oh, well, I had these feelings and I'm going to just mm, press them down as we normally do as guys. You know, we say we just going to throw that thing in a box, lock it up in a key, and that's it. You know, we don't normally say, all right, this is what I'm gonna do. This is how I'm gonna address it. Some stuff we don't even express exactly how we're feeling because we're in a society that makes you say that's not manly. So when you have those type of circumstances, yeah, that will make you feel as though that you can express how you actually feel. That will do that. But is that the proper thing to do? Nah, it ain't the proper thing to do. So I realized that because what that'll happen is you'll unknowingly trickle that down into not only uh, your friendships, but also with your family. And I don't necessarily mean the family you was raised up with. I mean the family that you can be creating right now. Yeah, I said it. The family you creating right now. We don't want that. A lot of people don't know how to just get those feelings out there because we don't feel validated. You don't feel as though it will be acknowledged. It don't feel as though it will be approved. And there's some women out there that will just be like, oh man, stop being a sucker, stop being a punk. Oh, that ain't manly, that ain't this. But when I tell you that it is those exact things that will make a person shut down. You know, a lot of people don't understand why, as a male, especially a black male, would shut down, so to say, emotionally, and then they clam up and ain't nothing getting in, right? You know, it just turns to an aspect of, well, if you shut me down over there, what makes you think I'm gonna open up over here? No, it don't work like that. It's usually for most guys, we across the board with everything. So the experience that I had, I'm listening to the song, and what the song I believe was uh like Rihanna or something like that. And I think the song is You Needed Me. That's the song. You Needed Me. And I remember being in a situation and it blew up. It got crazy, you know, and who would expect it? I didn't expect it, right? But the situation had passed. So when I heard the song, I'm like, wow, like, where did this even come from? I thought that I was cool. And at that point, I realized, man, I need to get a hold of how I'm feeling. I need to really address it. I need to actually take whatever steps I need to take in order to take hold of my emotional wellness. So, like anything else, when it comes to wellness, you know, you have to do the work. You know, you have to do something, whether it's, you know what, I feel as though that my arms ain't that big, right? What do? You start working out. You start actively doing something. But you didn't do that until you realized that you needed to take hold of you. You seen that there was a problem, something that you didn't like. It didn't have anything with it to do with anybody else. It was something that you did not like. So with myself, yeah, I could have just went on about my business with my emotions and be like, oh nah, forget about it. But I didn't want to do that. This was about how I felt. So I wanted to address it. I wanted to deal with it. So what did I do? I start asking myself, man, am I really over this situation? Did I really get closure from the situation? Did I really express how I felt? And not even necessarily to the other person, right? It starts with you. It starts with you first. You have to deal with your emotions first. And I'm going to say this straight up. You got to be honest with yourself. Why? Because if you're not honest with yourself, you can't be honest with nobody else. That's just hands down. Well, my hands is up, right? But that's just hands down. You got to be honest with yourself first. It's not going to happen. If you can't be honest with yourself, how can you be honest with anybody else? You can't. It's just not possible, period. So even with those little things, even when you feeling like, man, I want to say something, but they going to be tripping. And this ain't just as for a guy. This is women too. Oh, I don't want to say nothing. Oh, because he going to be tripping. Oh, I don't want to start nothing. Oh, I don't want this. Nope. Can't have that mindset because that doesn't help you. Because again, emotional wellness is for you first. How can you help anybody if you don't help yourself? The only way that you can help somebody else is if you're in a position to help somebody else. I ain't gonna ask you for, let's say, $100 if I know just last week you told me you only got 20 bucks. I'm not gonna do it unless I want to be told no, right? Like you ain't gonna just be like, oh well, I'm gonna just ask whoever. Now you could, but you like, all right, I already know who gonna give me what I'm asking for before I ask them. That's most of the time. Most of the time, you already know who has what you need. So I say this to you, and I said it to myself again. Like I said, I was at a nothing place with my emotional wellness. So I had to say, man, how can I rectify this? Like what's up? Like, what's going on with me? I did the work. And what was the work that I did? There it is. There it is. What was the work that I did? So the first thing that I did was understanding my why. That's very important. Why am I feeling like this? Where did these emotions come from? What happened? I understood the why first and then asked those supplemental questions. And then I honestly evaluated myself. So the next step that I actually did was I went to the source. Now, the source can be a number of things. It don't have to necessarily be another person. That don't have to be the source, right? Because your emotional wellness, you can't go to the source. That's just a fact. You can't always go to the source, right? Just because you know what the problem is, don't mean that you can go to the source where the problem was created. So what's the next best thing? Somebody said to me one day, they said, have you ever thought about writing down how you feel? And then after you write down how you feel, putting it in an envelope and mailing it? I was like, huh? It didn't what? And they was like, to nobody. They were like, see, what happens is you can do that. You're never going to get it back, right? It ain't like it's going to come back. But what is going to happen is you're going to feel a lot better because you got your emotions out, because you wrote it down. And a lot of people, sometimes writing it down does help. You wrote it down and you expressed it. Boom, you put an envelope on it and you just put that joint in the mailbox, right? Guess what? The mailman can't give it back to you because he don't know that it's from you. What they gonna do? They're gonna discard it. So number two, you can write it down. Write down how you feel. I ain't saying you gotta mail it off, right? I didn't do that, so I can't say that you should do that. But I can say I did write it down. Write it down. I don't care if you put it in your phone. I don't care if you put it on a laptop, write it in an email. I don't care how you do it. Just write it down. And after you write it down, you can put out every single thing that is not being said that you want to say. Okay, step 3. And what's the next thing I did? I started reading things to help supplement my feelings in a positive way, right? I started reading books that I enjoyed. Now, I ain't saying you got to read this self-help book. I'm not saying that, but what I am saying is start doing something that is going to help you preserve who you are. See, a lot of people don't understand and don't even see the value of self-preservation. Self-preservation is very big if you want to have emotional wellness. Why? Because the moment that your emotions are not in place, you're not going to want to do anything. That's just hands down. You're not going to want to. You're not going to want to do stuff. The things that you enjoy doing, you ain't going to want to do it. Now, with the COVID, it's a lot of stuff that we can't do, right? But it's a lot of things that we can. I mean, it's beautiful days outside. You could go outside, you could walk somewhere, you could jog somewhere, you could go to a park. Look, I don't care what you do. I don't care if it's you in the house, you playing solitary. If that makes you feel good, do it. You know what I'm saying? Watching a movie, that makes you feel good, do it. But do the things that you need to do for self-preservation first. And again, like I said, how can you help anybody else if you don't help yourself? And this is something that I always thought was very interesting. A lot of times, as people, we'll start feeling a way about something, or we'll allowing something to happen in our lives. But on the flip side of that, the very same things that we're doing, we wouldn't even accept that from our kids. We wouldn't even tell our kids that. Do you hear what I'm saying to you? Something that you are dealing with, you wouldn't even tell your kids to take that same advice. So why are you accepting that? Think about it. If you won't tell your kids to do something, and a lot of times, I was grown up, it was a do as I say, not as I do type of society, right? We don't live in that kind of world right now. Now we live in a world where even kids get to express how they feel and they're validated. And guess what? I ain't opposed to it because they're people too, regardless if we think about it. It starts at a very young age. Emotional wellness starts very, very young. Not being told that you can, say how you feel and things like that. Oh, well, I don't want to do that. Oh, well, I told you to do it. And I ain't saying like homework or chores or eating this or eating that. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about other things. When a kid says, oh, well, I don't want to give this person a hug, then don't make them. You're forcing them to do things that they're letting you know that they don't want to do. It's the same thing. It starts with emotional wellness young. It goes into adult years. Because as adults, we're just the kid that we was just with responsibilities, right? We just got responsibilities now. So what do we have to start doing? We have to start acknowledging the issue, acknowledging our feelings. So now, as we're acknowledging our feelings and we're dealing with the emotional wellness, how did I get to a nothing place? I'm already telling you the steps. So now that I got to a place of self-preservation, acknowledging my feelings, and addressing those things and doing the work, um, being honest with myself. So, can you go from a nothing to something place with emotional wellness? You can. I believe you can. Why? Because I was able to do it. Why? Because it's greatness within you. So just always understand emotional wellness is very important. How you feel is valid. You are allowed to feel the way you do. Can't nobody tell you shouldn't feel that way. Shouldn't nobody tell you you shouldn't feel that way. You feel how you feel, regardless of what. Right, wrong, indifferent, good, bad. At the end of the day, that's how you feel. So your feelings are validated. So now I just want to do a little jokey little area. So, something that I'm going to start doing on my episodes is telling y'all a little story, right? So I got a story for y'all. And the story is, I remember when I was home, it was me, my wife, my daughter, right? Now, my daughter sleep, I'm asleep, my wife is asleep. I don't know how, but a bat, yes, I said it, a flying bat, like a fruit bat, came into the house. Now, I will be straight up with you. I ain't that guy that be like, oh, let me get the bug and let me do this and let me do that. I ain't that guy. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Like my wife know that. I ain't that guy. She ain't married that guy. So the bat comes in. My wife wake me up. Babe. I'm like, huh? What's up? She like, there's a bat in here. I look up, man, a bat flying around in the room. Look, I love my wife. I love my daughter, right? But I love me too. I was gone. I was gone. That was it. I was out of there. And I'm telling her, hey, yo, you need to come on so we can get out of here. My daughter, she was knocked out cold. I'm telling you, she was knocked out cold. And we in a little one bedroom apartment, and my daughter over there and we over here in another room. And so when we left out that room, she still sleep. My daughter sleep like an elephant. I'm talking hard. She don't wake up. She don't move. She don't do nothing. Right? Now, look, this is just what it is. I was gone. My wife was like, yo, where you going? I'm like, yo, you better come on. My daughter didn't wake up for none of it. She didn't experience any of it. So we finally ends up getting a family member who lived close by to come get the bat out, right? And I know you probably like, why you ain't just get that? Look, I tried to get that joint out of there. You know what I'm saying? The bat was in the room. It was stuck in the room. We had the window open. And where we was at, it was like the bat couldn't just go right out. And, it was like one level. We was like right there on that one level type joint. So you could actually stand outside and like open the window and like come in or whatever if you needed to. So we had the window open. We trying to get the joint out. And we like trying to hit the bat and things like that. Man, that bat wasn't going nowhere. But we finally was able to get the bat out. And fortunately, it was a story that my wife loves to tell. You know, when I tell it, people always say, "Yo, man, so you just left your daughter right there?" Yeah. Ain't nothing gonna happen to her from no fruit bat, but she sleep, she ain't affected, right? And so I always tell that story, and then she usually jumps in and interjects and be like, "No, you was gone, like you was out of there." Yes, I was. I was out of there. I wasn't playing. So this is something that I'm going to start doing. Is my little funny stories. So again, now that we done touched on a little funny story, and we already touched on something serious about emotional wellness and how we can take the steps to go from a nothing place to a something place with emotional wellness. I just want to tell you, remember, go be great.
You're in control of how you feel. You're in control. You are the determining factor of your feelings. No one else can control how you feel. Remember, you're in control how you feel. So control your feelings.